Hello, everyone. I'm ZHAO Chuang. Today, we are going to draw the head of Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus was an amazing fish. Its head had a complex articulated structure, just as this model shows. Since its head was composed of many large plates, it's necessary to know the position and shape of each plate when drawing, so that we won't make mistakes. Besides, when its mouth opened and closed, the head would also move. This is because, when it opened its mouth, several joints on the head must move together. When it closed its mouth, the armor fit perfectly. But when it opened its mouth, some soft parts of its body, for example, the muscles or gills, would become visible. As to how to show these structures, and how to speculate what they looked like, we'll explain step by step during the later drawing. Now, let's start to draw the head of the Dunkleosteus. We first outline its head. We'll draw it with its mouth open. Its head was very distinctive, which was a large triangle. If without the lower jaw, we can draw the front of its mouth here, and the back of the head here. But behind its head, there was a large plate that extended to the back. We can draw it here. And this plate was extremely large. This overall area formed an important part of its skeleton, that is the head and thorax. Then, the top of its head would be here. When its mouth opened, other parts of the head would also move. So when its mouth closed, this part would fold down around this axis. If it opened its mouth, the top of its head and its back would be level. There was a very large plate shaped like this on its cheek, which would form the large triangle we just mentioned. The rear part was also a triangle, and we can use light, dashed lines to show it for now. Since there were many parts on the body surface, like here and here, which were connected by skin, we can draw these parts with dashed lines. If you have a pencil on hand, you can use the pencil to draw these parts. Then we move on to its lower jaw around here. When it opened its mouth, the lower jaw was probably here. One of its mouth joints was here, and the other was here. So when its mouth opened, it was supported by these two joints. Unlike humans, who only have one joint in the lower jaw, when we open our mouth, only the lower jaw moves. The Dunkleosteus had more than one joint, so when it opened its mouth, its entire head would also move. Its throat connected rearward. We'll talk about that later. Here is where its fins should be. Now, we can add more details for this animal. First of all, let's draw its eye, which located quite to the front, big and round. We can draw its pupil in a vertical stripe-like shape. This stripe structure is common to underwater animals. The eye was surrounded by two large plates. One plate atop the eye. This piece extended all the way back here. When viewed from the side, this plate looked like a triangle, which formed the upper part of its head. At the front, the upper and lower parts might connect, so it may not look very conspicuous. Below the eye, there was another large plate, which ended here. There was a gap between the two plates, and a small plate was wedged in between. In front of where this plate ends, we draw its nostril. Then coming down, here is its lip-like structure. Since it is a fish, we can't compare with human lips, so we'll take it as a lip-like structure for now. Then we need to draw its sharp, tooth-like plates. Dunkleosteus had terrifying teeth, but these teeth were composed of plates. There was a large one on the side. and if viewed from the side, we can also see a very sharp one at the front. Like this, we've finished drawing the entire upper part of its head. Let's draw some more details, for example, using thin lines to show the structure around the eye. Next, we move on to the lower jaw, and draw the lower teeth first. When viewed from the side, 3 pointy tips can be seen. They are the foremost one, the one on the side, and the one on the edge of the side. These 3 sharp tips were used for piercing and cutting. Its lip-like structure was located here, and from here it was connected to the muscles of the upper jaw. Going downward from here was a skin or epidermis structure. We can draw some folds here, because the throat would move when the mouth opened and closed. Then let's draw the thorax plate. The plate that formed its thorax was shaped like this, whose edges were not attached to it. It was shaped like a W when viewed from the side. The thorax plate extended forward all the way here, then stretched rearward and connected with the skin. So the backward lines, especially the upper lines, we can draw them relaxed. This is also its outline, so this line can loosen up as well. Further back was its trunk, and its fins extended from this position, like shark fins. From the part below the throat and the head, it connected to the rear like this. For the last 2 parts left, the top part can be drawn with some folds, because when it moved, this part would come down and stretch if the mouth closed. So we can draw some folds on this part to show its soft skin. This part should be where its gills were. Many reconstructions made its gills look like a set of shark gills, but this is not supported by any existing evidence so far. We know shark gills are parallel, which evolved from the ribs, but the face of Dunkleosteus didn't have that kind of rib structure. Its skin armor may not have evolved from ribs either, so we can make them look like gill slits, similar to primitive gill openings. It probably didn't have multiple rows of gill slits like sharks, so we can draw them this way. When it shut its mouth, the gills would remain hidden, and when it opened its mouth, the gills would be revealed. Finally, let's draw some textures on the skin armor by adding some details. Good, like this, we've finished drawing the head of Dunkleosteus.